Gucci seen you on YouTube, reached out to you. How did you feel when he reached out to you? Was you fucked up? Did you believe it? Or you thought it was a fake account?
Yeah, I ain't believe it at all. Look at my phone. I said, hell no, I wake up, I get all the way up. Look at my phone again. He text me again. He was like, what's up? I text back right there. I was like, what's chopping? He was like, man, I'm rocking with your music, home. You too hard. I instantly put my clothes on, leave. I go to the house. I wake Pops up. You know, this my manager. Hell no, this ain't real.
Right.
I wake him up. I show him. He couldn't believe he done there sweating. He get to sweat. So look, he sent me his number. He said, FaceTime me. I FaceTime him from there. We talked about like 5 hours. And it was up from there. And now fucking twin sister, mama's cousin.
And if one of those, was it 9 guys altogether, 7 guys? How many guys was it altogether?
I believe it was 9.
Yeah, I believe it was 9 guys. It was Pooh, Shiesty, his dad, Big 30, and 6 other guys, right?
Right.
If one of them turns and says the entire story from beginning to end, good luck. Good luck with that.
Which is highly likely.
Highly likely. Because here's the thing.
Well, Pooh Shiesty's dad's already a cooperator.
Really?
Pooh Shiesty's dad's a rat. Whack 100 dropped the paperwork. I validated that shit.
Oh.
Pooh Shiesty's dad went to the feds and got a 5K1 motion for agreeing to cooperate now and in the future on future cases.
Oh.
You think his father's gonna do it? No. It's gonna be a Queso and Queso's dad 2.0. Nah, I thought I was just printing some. I didn't know my son was gonna pull that out. I didn't know he was gonna do all that shit. Pooh Shiesty's dad really ain't do nothing but stand there. He ain't pull out a.
Well, right, but according to the paperwork, Pooh Shiesty put a to Gucci's head, made him sign, handed the contract to his dad, and his dad said, oh, it's missing a date. Gave it back to Gucci with the still brandished and had him sign. You can't say, I had nothing to do with it.
No, he can say.
You're in the room with getting pulled out.
Your Honor, Gucci was under duress. I was under duress. I didn't know my son was gonna pull that big. He can run it the same way. Literally the same way. Homie, he pulled a out all of us in the room self. We didn't know he was gonna do that. It's the same shit. Man, his dad's old, bro. You think he's about to sit down for 30? That's a life sentence. It's over with. He ain't gonna do that. He already cooperated in a previous case. What, he gonna hit a federal pen with the paperwork that he has on him? He ain't gonna do that?
It started with one post, then another. Then suddenly, the entire internet was saying the same thing. That Pooh Shiesty had allegedly been jumped inside federal prison. Not just jumped either. People were claiming he got attacked by multiple inmates, lost a tooth, and ended up in critical condition. And once those rumors hit social media, everything exploded. Because this wasn't just any rapper. This was one of the biggest breakout stars Memphis had seen in years. A guy who went from the streets to platinum records almost overnight. But now, people were asking a completely different question. How does somebody that famous survive inside a federal prison? And the deeper you look into this situation, the crazier it gets. Because this story isn't only about violence, it's about reputation, street politics, gang pressure, and the terrifying reality that sometimes fame can actually make prison more dangerous. And what happened behind those walls might be way darker than most people realize. Because according to people close to the situation, this wasn't random at all. And once you understand why it allegedly happened, everything changes. Before we get into the prison rumors, you have to understand how fast Pooh Shiesty's rise really was. Because honestly, his career moved at a speed most artists never experience. 1 minute he was another rapper coming out of Memphis. The next, the entire rap industry was watching him. His energy felt different immediately. Aggressive, raw, authentic. Like somebody who genuinely came from the life he was rapping about. That image connected instantly, especially after he linked up with Gucci Mane and signed to 1017. And once Back in Blood with Lil Durk dropped, it was over. That song became unavoidable. Clubs, TikTok, cars, parties. Everybody was playing it. And the craziest part? Pooh Shiesty was barely old enough to drink while all this was happening. Most artists grind for 10 years trying to touch that level of success. He got there almost instantly. But sometimes when fame comes too fast, real life doesn't slow down with it. And that's exactly where everything started collapsing. Because while his music career was exploding, legal problems were building behind the scenes. And eventually, the federal government stepped in. That changed everything. The case that sent Pooh Shiesty to prison started with a 2020 robbery situation in Florida. According to prosecutors, a confrontation involving money and luxury items turned violent. And once investigators got involved, things escalated quickly, especially because the feds allegedly had surveillance footage, social media evidence, and multiple witnesses. That's the part a lot of young rappers underestimate. The internet can become evidence. Every post, every photo, every live stream, every flex, investigators watch all of it. And once federal charges appear, beating the case becomes way harder. Eventually, Pooh Shiesty pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges connected to the robbery. Then came the sentence. Over 5 years in federal prison. Just like that, one of the hottest rappers in America disappeared from the outside world. But fans still thought he'd be okay. People assumed his fame would protect him. That being rich, connected, and respected in hip-hop would somehow make prison easier. In reality, it can do the exact opposite. Because prison operates on completely different rules. Inside, platinum records don't mean much. And being famous can actually put a target on your back. That's where this story starts getting dark. A lot of people on the outside imagine celebrity inmates getting special treatment, like prison becomes easier if people know your name. But according to former inmates and prison insiders, fame can create non-stop pressure. Some inmates respect you, others want to test you, and some see you as an opportunity. Because if you're a rapper with money on the outside, people assume your commissary account stays loaded. That means extortion becomes a real possibility. Threats, pressure, people trying to tax you. And if somebody refuses, things can escalate fast. Now add gang politics into that environment. That's where things reportedly became dangerous for Pooh Shiesty. Because prison alliances are serious. Way more serious than internet fans realize. People don't leave affiliations at the prison gate. Inmates from different cities, states, and gangs all end up packed together inside the same facilities. And according to rumors that spread online, Pooh Shiesty allegedly found himself surrounded by people connected to rival groups. That's when stories about tension started circulating. Then suddenly, reports of an attack hit social media, and the details sounded brutal. According to multiple rumors online, Pooh Shiesty was allegedly jumped by several inmates during an altercation inside the facility. Not a one-on-one fight, a coordinated attack. Then came the detail that made the story go viral. People claimed his tooth got knocked out during the assault, and once that detail spread, the internet lost its mind. Memes started appearing everywhere. People debated whether the attack was real. Others claimed the situation was even worse than reported. Some posts even said he was in critical condition. Now, it's important to say this clearly. A lot of prison information is extremely difficult to verify publicly. Rumors spread fast. Stories get exaggerated. People add fake details for clicks. So not every viral claim should automatically be treated as fact. But what made this situation different was how many sources kept discussing it. The story refused to disappear. And people close to the Memphis rap scene seemed genuinely concerned. That's why fans started taking it seriously. Because whether every detail is true or not, something clearly happened. And the bigger conversation became this: why wouldn't Pooh Shiesty just go into protective custody? That question opened up an entirely different conversation about prison culture. Because on paper, protective custody sounds simple. If somebody is in danger, separate them from general population. Problem solved. Except prison culture doesn't see it that way. Especially for rappers connected to street credibility. Inside prison, going to PC is often viewed as checking in. Basically admitting you can't survive in general population. And in certain circles, that label follows people forever, even after release. That's why some rappers would rather risk danger than request protection. Because their image becomes tied to standing tall no matter what. And for somebody like Pooh Shiesty, Image matters heavily. His entire career was built around authenticity. Fans believed him because he sounded real, because he looked real, because people felt like he actually lived what he rapped about. So imagine the pressure now. If he avoids PC, he risks violence. If he enters PC, some people online might say his reputation is finished. That's a brutal position for anybody to be in, especially somebody still so young. And honestly, the mental side of all this might be worse than the physical part. Think about it. A few years ago, Pooh Shiesty was performing in packed venues, recording hits, traveling constantly, living like a superstar. Now suddenly he's locked inside a federal facility while the rap world keeps moving without him. New artists are blowing up. New songs are replacing old hits. The spotlight that once felt permanent starts shifting somewhere else. That messes with people mentally, especially artists. Because rappers don't just build careers. They build identities around momentum, attention, status, and prison freezes all of it instantly. Now combine that with constant tension inside, watching your back, hearing rumors, not knowing who's cool with you and who isn't. That kind of pressure changes people. A lot of former inmates talk about becoming paranoid, hyper alert, emotionally numb. Some come home completely different mentally than when they went in. And fans rarely think about that part. They only see headlines, not the psychological damage building quietly every day. But the biggest question now might be what happens after prison. Because hip-hop has a strange relationship with incarceration. Sometimes prison actually increases an artist's popularity. Fans turn them into legends while they're locked up. The story becomes bigger, the mystique grows, and when they finally come home, the comeback feels massive. But that only works if the artist survives the experience physically and mentally. That's the real issue here. People online joke about prison constantly, but prison violence leaves real damage behind. Physical scars, trauma, fear, and if the rumors about Pooh Shiesty are even partially true, then this situation could affect him long after release, especially mentally. Because surviving an environment where you constantly feel targeted changes the way you see the world. And honestly, that's what makes this story hit harder than regular rap gossip. This isn't just industry drama. This is a young artist potentially fighting to protect his reputation, his safety, and his future all at the same time. Inside one of the harshest environments imaginable. And the scariest part? Nobody outside those walls fully knows what's happening day to day. That's the reality of federal prison. Information leaks slowly, sometimes inaccurately. Families get limited communication. Fans rely on rumors, and social media fills in the gaps whether the information is true or not. But one thing is undeniable. Pooh Shiesty's situation has people genuinely worried. Not because he's famous, because he's human. A young man who made serious mistakes, yes, but still somebody with a future, somebody with talent, somebody whose life could look completely different 5 years from now depending on what happens inside those walls. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from this entire story. Fame doesn't erase consequences, but prison also isn't supposed to become a survival contest. Yet for many inmates, especially high-profile ones, that's exactly what it becomes. Every day turns into a balancing act between respect and safety, between survival and reputation. And for rappers whose careers were built on street credibility, that pressure becomes even heavier. Because the internet watches everything. Every rumor, every report, every sign of weakness. And once a narrative starts online, it spreads fast whether it's true or not. That's why this situation became so massive. Not just because people care about Pooh Shiesty, but because the stories exposed how dangerous prison politics can really become once fame, gangs, money, and reputation all collide together. And honestly, it's hard not to wonder how many other artists are one bad decision away from ending up in the exact same situation. Because hip-hop has seen this story before. Fast success, street fame, federal charges, then a career frozen in time. The only difference now is social media lets the entire world watch it happen in real time, and that changes everything. But what do you think? Do you think fame makes prison more dangerous for rappers, or do you think internet rumors are blowing this entire situation out of proportion? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into stories like this, hit subscribes, because there's a lot more happening behind the scenes in the rap world than most people realize. I'll catch y'all in the next one.